Alright, what's going on, y'all? We are back with another video. And I just want to let you guys know, if you hear a fan blowing in the background, I'm sorry about that. It's extremely hot in my room right now. Weather's been picking up with the heat, man. So, sorry about that, but I gotta stay cool, man. But, today's video, I want to talk about my first round previews, my predictions for the first round, and talking about every single matchup. With that being said, let's start with the Eastern Conference. The playing game stuff, man, in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, was not very good. Blowouts everywhere. In case you guys didn't know, Boston Celtics for the 7th seed, Washington Wizards for the 8th seed. So, let's go with the 1-8 matchup. Philly versus Washington. So, Philly, obviously, you got MVP candidate now, Joel Embiid. Don't know who on the Washington Wizards is going to really guard Embiid. I know they got Daniel Gafford, Alex Len, Robert Lopez, but can't none of them guys guard Embiid. Biggest question mark is the health of Bradley Beal. During the first game, but playing game, his hamstring looked like it was bothering him. He didn't look healthy. But the second game, he looked a lot better, but you can tell that his hamstring is bothering him. This should be a pretty easy series for Philly. I'm gonna give the Wizards a game based off how hard Westbrook is. Bradley Beal, them two can go off anytime, so they can get you a game. Philly overall, better team. They can throw multiple bodies at Westbrook and Bradley Beal. They can slow them down enough. They can make life very difficult for them too. And outside Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, they don't really have nobody else to really counter at Philly. Philly got Embiid, Tobias Harris have been having a career season. Ben Simmons is a playmaker. In my opinion, defensive player of the year. Steph Curry. So they got weapons. Too much firepower. Better on defense end. They can slow down. Two-headed monster, Westbrook and Bradley Beal. So I'm going Philly. And Philly, I can see it being a sweep, but I'm going to gentleman sweep. So Philly in 5. All right. So the 4-5 matchup. In my opinion, the second most intriguing matchup in the East. This one to me is the biggest, toss-up. Loving the way the Knicks is playing this season. Coach Tibbs definitely coach of the year. Nobody expected the team to be where they are right now. Nobody expected them to be a 4 seed. This team played hard. One of the top, 3 defensive teams. Julius Randle has been having a career season. Derrick Rose is being Derrick Rose. Jimmy being one of the best 6-men in the league. RJ Barrett, began to take that next step. Last year, didn't have a good rookie season, but he had a much better sophomore season. Really turned to a very good defender. And although Atlanta, in my opinion, is the more talented team, Atlanta do everything. They they good at. They are good at. They're very good offensive team. They are okay defensive team, but they're not very great at one particular thing. On the other hand, New York Knicks is not as talented as the Atlanta Hawks, but they are great at defense. They play extremely hard. They're well disciplined, hard-nosed defensive team, and they got their main guy Julius Randle. Also, from a Knicks standpoint, they can throw multiple bodies at Trae Young. They can make life difficult for Trae Young. They can make life difficult for Bogdanovich. They can make life difficult for Clint Capella and John Collins because they have the bigs, they have the size to give them the Atlanta Hawks a lot of trouble. So ultimately, I'm going to go with the Knicks in 7. I wouldn't be surprised with either or. This is a very tight series. Like I said, but through the past couple of days, I was leaning more towards Atlanta. But, this is their first playoff series. This team is very inexperienced, really outside of Clint Capella and Lou Williams. But I just like the defensive personnel. Love how this the New York Knicks are. And I will say Coach Tibbs, they got coaching advantage. And, Coach Tibbs will have a lot of defensive schemes they can throw at, Trae Young to really make things difficult for him. So I'm going to take the Knicks in 7. Alright, next up, 3-6 matchup. Miami and Milwaukee. In my opinion, the toughest, the best first round matchup. In the playoff, best tough first round matchup overall. Really besides, of course, Philly, not Philly, Phoenix and Lakers. But in the Eastern Conference, this is my opinion, this is gonna be the best first round in the East. You know, based off last year, the Heat are the Eastern Conference defending champs. They did kind of, expose Giannis in Milwaukee last season, but I believe that Milwaukee is the much better team this year. This is a different Milwaukee team. I'm loving the way they prepare. You know, they prepared throughout the regular season. They took a different approach. They really were preparing all regular. They were using all the regular season to prepare for the playoffs. I know they don't have many wins the last couple of seasons, but this team is definitely better on both ends for them the past couple of years. Giannis seems like he's ready to overcome this adversity. He's been dealing with for the last couple of years. Drew Holiday is a massive upgrade for Eric Bledsoe. Chris Middleton is, very good, robbing for Giannis. That being said, I do believe that Drew Holiday is the X factor in this series. And I think he will ultimately make the difference in this series. Let's talk about Miami real quick. Bam and Jimmy, got to start with them two. Really, them two has been the lone bright spots for Miami this year. I know they've been playing a lot better toward the end of the season. Especially with the addition of Trevor Ariza. They really found a good, starting five. Now, the biggest question mark about Miami is, can Duncan Robinson continue his hot shooting streak in the playoffs like he did last year? Even though the moments last year had some slumps, but there were times, last year that he was scorching hot, from three. Now they got a little more blueprint on Duncan Robinson, a little more intel, scouting report on Duncan Robinson, so they know what he's about. And then the biggest X factor, in my opinion, is Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero has had a sophomore slump this season. Not have the sophomore season that a lot of people expect him to have. And can he really turn up in the playoffs like he did last year? Before the finals. And then Gordon Dragic. And Dragic returned to his, playoff form last year. It hasn't really been the same Dragic this year. Dealing with that plantar, fascia. So we've been having foot problems. Ultimately, I do believe that Milwaukee will get their advance. I do believe Milwaukee will be better prepared for this Miami team. So I'm going to take Milwaukee in 6. Next up is the 2-7 Brooklyn versus Boston. Man, this will be a much more interesting series. Jaylen Brown didn't get hurt, but I look at both rosters. I don't see how Boston can beat Brooklyn. They don't have enough firepower. They don't have really, the personnel to stop the three-headed monster in Brooklyn: Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. Jason Tatum gonna get his. He's gonna put on the show. I absolutely believe that. But I don't think Boston will have enough scoring. Kemba Walker is inconsistent, but he has been playing better as of late. He had the bigs to give Brooklyn a problem, which is, in my opinion, Brooklyn's biggest weak spot is they bigs. They lack a bigs, inside presence. Boston not really strong. That's Boston also one that weak point. So this is, in my opinion, a perfect matchup for Brooklyn. I believe this is possibly could be a sweep, but I won't be generous I think this will be a gentleman's sweep. So I do believe Jason Tatum will give him a game. So here's my predictions up into the Eastern Conference Finals. I wanted to go more in depth with the first round because first round is about to start in a couple of days. As the playoff goes on, as we reach the second round, I'll talk about the second round matchup, whoever that may be, whoever wins the first round matchups, and then after the second round, I'll discuss Eastern Conference Finals, and I'll give my predictions then. Like I said, first round, I got Philly in 5. New York in 7 versus Atlanta. Milwaukee in 6. Brooklyn in 5 versus Boston. And then the second round predictions, I'll go more in depth. Like I said, once we get to the second round and whoever face off, against each other. But I have Philly beating New York in 6. Then I have Brooklyn beating Milwaukee in 7. If these two teams match up, these two teams, when they respect their first round matchups, the second round between these two is going to be very, very exciting, man. And then, like I said, as of right now, My two teams who I believe are gonna make it East Conference Finals is Brooklyn and Philly. So once we get past the first round, man, for both conference, the second round and day on is gonna be very, very exciting. Like I can't wait for playoff basketball. So yeah, let's get let's get to the Western Conference now, man. Real quick, the Western Conference playing game was, man, it was very fun games all around, way better than the Eastern Conference. But as we know, the Lakers and Golden State was a classic, and then Memphis and Memphis and Golden State was also a very good game. I did pick the Warriors to win that game. Very surprised. Good win for Memphis. Ja Morant was very good, hitting those 2 clutch buckets. He was very good all night. I believe he scored 35. But I will be honest, I was rooting for Steph Curry. Man, Steph Curry was on the tear once again. He had 39, but you just look at all the attention he had throughout this game. This man getting triple team, had 4 players on him. Memphis swarmed him, and he still had 39. Clutch win for Memphis. But I did want to see Steph Curry in the 8th seed. Now let's talk about the first round matchups, my predictions. With the 1-8 matchup, I think this is a very good matchup for Utah. I think this is going to be a very quick series. I would say sweep to a gentleman's sweep. So I don't see the series going longer than 4 or 5 games. Shout out to Memphis to getting make it to the playoffs. Opportunity to get playoff experience with a very good Utah team, but I just think Utah is playing at a high level right now. Their chemistry is on point. I believe they're a much better team right now. And matchup wise, this is the much better matchup for Utah. All right, 4 or 5 matchup: the Clippers and Dallas Mavericks. Clippers been getting a lot of heat. Obviously since last year what they did in the bubble, but a lot of heat for the last 2 games. A lot of people criticize the way they rested their players in the last 2 games. People are saying that the Clippers tank and all that stuff so that they can avoid, facing the Lakers. That side of the bracket facing against the Lakers. We don't know what they decide to do, but it looks like they chose health over seeding in that situation. They position themselves where they want to be positioned at. So they better make it count. Like I said, I believe there's a lot of pressure on this Clippers team. And I do think this series is going to be a very entertaining series. I can see this being a 6-game series, but I will go to LA Clippers because I think they got extra chip on their shoulder. Love the addition of Rondo. Love the addition from this season with Batum and Baca. They got much better personnel than they did last year. I think on paper last year they had been a roster, but they didn't all mesh together. This year they got more of identity. They got more chemistry with one another, and I think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will be on the mission. The X factor is always going to be Paul George. So if we get good Paul George, they should win this series. But on a Dallas standpoint, Luka Doncic. Luka. Last playoff had a fantastic playoff series against the Clippers. Porzingis. Being out hurt him a lot. And Dallas X factor is the health for Porzingis. Right now, I'm not too confident in that, in Porzingis' health, which is the big reason why I'm going with the Clippers. But the health of Porzingis is going to be very key. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson. Can Luka get enough help in this series? Because we know that they're not a very good defensive team. They're not a good offensive team last year. They're still a very, very good offensive team. But I just believe that Clippers got too much firepower, and I think they got enough by it to at least make it tougher on Luka in the way Dallas can make it tougher on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So I'm going to take the Clippers in 6. 3-6 matchup: Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trailblazers. To me, this was the toughest series to pick. If Denver was healthy, I think Denver would beat Portland in 5-6 games. If Jamal Murray went down with injury, I love the trade deadline. This is they made, by getting JaVale McGee, by getting Aaron Gordon. Those players added more depth to their roster. But, with the loss of Murray, I think this is where they really going to miss Murray. We know Michael Porter Jr. has been ascending, especially with Jamal Murray, being out. But I don't know if they got enough, offensive punch outside of Jokic and Michael Porter, and this also Michael Porter first series that being, a star level player, second guy, number 2 option. You know, Batman being this Robin to Jokic being the Batman. So we're gonna see how this works out. Now for Portland's standpoint, I'm lower on Portland than I was early in the season. I had to see as a secret dark horse in the West, but this team pretty much disappointed me. Disappointed me this season. A lot of that has to do with injuries. To like CJ McCollum, Nurkic and all that stuff. But over the last few weeks, Portland had really rounded out into a very good team. They've been on a hot streak and they playing very good basketball at the right time. My biggest question mark about them is they don't play defense. Last time I checked, they're the 29th best defensive team, second worst in the league. So I don't know how they're gonna defend Jokic. And then they backcourt. They don't really have size. Dame 6'2", 6'3", CJ 6'3", and then Norman Powell, they small forward playing 6'3". So who also gonna defend Michael Porter? Michael Porter is 6'10". Are they gonna put Robert Covington on him, who's more of a team defender than an on-ball defender? Are they gonna put Derrick Jones Jr., who in my opinion is a very good on-ball defender, but he don't really provide much on the offensive end besides being a lob threat? It's gonna be interesting. I would have picked Denver if they were fully healthy in the 5-6 game series, but I'm going to go with Portland in 7. I'm not very confident in that pick, but I'm going Portland in 7 due to the fact we don't get a Dame, we don't get a CJ. Norman Powell can score. Their offensive firepower, I believe, would be enough, to carry them in the series. Whereas Denver don't really have much offensive firepower with the loss of Jamal Murray, and then we got players like Monte Morris, who's not healthy, PJ Dozier, who's not healthy, Will Barton, who's not healthy. So they got a lot of injury concerns right now. A lot of questions about health. Denver's just not healthy right now, and that's the biggest reason why I'm going to go with Portland in the 7-game series, because they got a lot of offensive firepower. Where Denver, in my opinion, outside of Jokic and Michael Porter, and even then you can have question marks about Michael Porter, they don't really have a lot of offensive punch. So, wow, I don't think Denver really had much to stop the backcourt of Portland as well. So I'm going to go Portland in 7. And then probably the most watched first round, matchup, it's going to be Phoenix and LA. I just want to say this, man. The fact that Phoenix haven't made a playoffs in 11 years and they have a fantastic regular season. It's not like they barely made the playoffs. They end up being a number 2 seed, a game away from having the best record in the league. And they were Warriors getting the defending champs, LA Lakers, LeBron James and AD. For them not making the playoffs in 11 years, that's a heck of a way to have your first, playoff, making the playoffs for the first time in 11 years. You get the Lakers, that's the reward. That's tough, man. Makes me feel bad for the Phoenix, but don't sleep on Phoenix, man. A lot of people, it's just crazy to me, thinking it's going to be a 5-game series in the Lakers. I don't think so. I can see this being a 6-7 game series. I really see this being a 6-7 game series. I think a lot of people is underrating Phoenix. I know that they don't have a lot of playoff experience outside of Chris Paul and Jay Crowder. This is the first playoff appearance for Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton. So, but with that being said, Lakers, I think Lakers' size is going to be a big factor in this. I'm not too confident with the Phoenix only big really being DeAndre Ayton, whereas, Lakers got AD, Drummond to some extent, even though I'm not as high as Drummond as some, others are. Montrez. So the amount of body and size that they can throw at Phoenix is going to be concerning, in my opinion. That's the biggest concern. Lakers' size, whereas Phoenix, it's only really had DeAndre Ayton. So, and the Lakers can go away playing big with DeAndre Ayton as a big. It's not like, as a 5, it's not like he's a stretch 5. So, my biggest X factor for Phoenix is going to be DeAndre Ayton. I think Chris Paul and Devin Booker is going to have a good series. I think them two can attack the LA bigs in the pick and roll situation. They can get their shot from that mid range area. It will be a little bit more concerned when they decide to go AD at the 5 for this, and where they can't really. Devin Booker and CP3 will have a harder time attacking the switches, on AD, whereas they can really attack Drummond and Montrez. And then Phoenix don't really have answer for AD, LeBron James. So I do believe that the primary defenders on LeBron James will be Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, but it's gonna have to be more of a team effort than individual defense. So, but my biggest concern with Phoenix is LA size, and then who who on Phoenix really gonna match up with Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis will be a matchup nightmare for Phoenix. But with that being said, I want to also give Phoenix the respect that they deserve. This is not gonna be a 5-game series. It's not gonna be easy. So I seen even some people saying it's gonna be a 4 or 5-game series. If you believe it's gonna be that easy a series, you haven't watched the Phoenix Suns all season long. So, but with that being said, I am gonna pick the Lakers in 6. I can really go in 6, 7 games. I think this series is gonna last a lot longer than people expect it to be. But Lakers got too much talent. They're getting healthy at the right time. Even though I do believe that this is the time to strike the Lakers right now, where they don't really have their chemistry going. The health is a concern with them. This is the best time to strike them. But I'm gonna go with the Lakers. Alright, so before I end this video, I just want to show you guys my predictions for the first and second round in the West. So, like I said, Utah, Memphis, I actually think this is going to be a sweep, to a genuine sweep. I don't think it's going to be a long series based on the fact that Utah has been playing so well this season. The only reason I can see this series extending is if Donovan Mitchell is not really healthy from that ankle injury. So if the health of Donovan Mitchell is really going to determine how long this series will be. But I do believe that this will be a sweep, to a genuine sweep. I just believe in Utah the way they play right now. The matchup wise is perfect for them, and Memphis being their first time in the playoffs. So this is a great opportunity for Memphis to get experience. But I do believe that Utah is a better team. They should wrap this series up pretty quickly. Alright, so 4 or 5, like I said, I got Clippers in 6. This is going to be a very entertaining series. I think this is going to be a tougher series than Clippers fans think it will be. But I do have Clippers in 6 due to the fact that I do believe that Paul George and Kawhi would be too much for the Dallas to handle. Like I said, 3-6, Portland at 7. Like I said, earlier, I'm not very confident in this pick, but I'm gonna go with Dame and CJ in this series over, Jokic. Even though Jokic had been the MVP or worse, run-up MVP, I do believe that Portland have too much firepower for Denver. Lakers, Phoenix, in my opinion, the West would be the most interesting first round in the West. Go Lakers in 6. Like I just talked about, people underrating Phoenix. I think this would be a much tougher series than people expected to be. And I would not be surprised if this series goes 6, 7 games. I actually expected it to go between 6 and 7 games. So this would be a very interesting series. But I got to go with LeBron and AD, particularly with LeBron. LeBron never lost the first round, and I don't think that's going to happen now. Second round matchup was Utah and Clippers. I think this is going to be a very good series. I do like the Clippers matchup against Utah. I think they match up well with Utah, so I will go with Clippers in 6. I do believe that the Clippers are the better team, but this will be a tough series for them. This will be a very good series. Like I said, with the Utah and Memphis series, the health of Donovan Mitchell is really going to be a huge factor in determining how far Utah goes. So I got Clippers in 6. So I expect them to make the Western Conference Finals. And then Portland and Lakers. If nothing, I do have concerns about Lakers health-wise. But if Lakers, stay healthy throughout that first round, they get their rhythm together, I think this will be a very, very quick series. I'm just not as high as Portland as I were early in the season. I love Dame and CJ, but this would be a very bad matchup for Portland against the LA team. Even though I do expect Dame to go off in the series, because every time he play the Lakers, he go off against the Lakers. But I think the Lakers got too much, too much size. They got bodies to throw at Dame, CJ. And I don't think Portland defends very well. And I don't think Portland have anybody to guard AD and LeBron. So I think AD will be a matchup nightmare for Portland. I don't believe in Portland defensively at all. So I think Lakers will wrap this up in 5. So for another year, second season in a row, even though last season we didn't get this matchup, I have the battle. I have both LA teams making the Western Conference Finals. So like I said, with the Eastern Conference, if these are the matchups, I'll talk about the second round series. If depending on who wins the series, and then whoever wins the second round series, I'll talk about the Western Conference Finals matchup, and I'll give you my Western Conference picks. Then, depending on who makes the Western Conference Finals. So I want to show you guys that this is my official 2021, at least Eastern and Western Conference up till the Eastern and Western Conference Finals predictions right now. Once we get there, I'll make my predictions. Who I believe will win, win the West, win the East. But as of right now, these are my predictions right now up until the conference finals right now. So I'm gonna end the video there. Let me know in the comment section that you guys agree with these my predictions. Let me know who you guys think win the first round series. Let me know who you guys think gonna make the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Man, this video is 25 minutes. Okay, I'll talk for a long time, so this is a longer video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Till next time, I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.